After having the Quest 2 since launch and now the Quest 3, this is my review of the Quest 3. In this video, I'm not just going to cover standalone, but also PCVR and virtual desktop experiences as well. Let me start by saying, compared to the Quest 2 before it, I find the Quest 3 to be more comfortable than the Quest 2, despite being a little bit heavier. Weight is a little bit more evenly distributed, even with the factory head strap, and I personally find the factory head strap to be quite comfortable, but some people don't like it. But there is the Elite strap there for those people that want to upgrade, and of course other third-party versions as well. The interface has also been upgraded this time around with a fabric mesh in comparison to the itchy foam of the Quest 2 that got a lot of complaints. Although I have put a silicone cover over mine for easy cleaning, another upgrade on the interface is the buttons inside the interface to increase or decrease the distance from your face to your lenses. Alright, so for this part of the video, I'm going to talk on the actual headset so that you can hear the microphone and you can judge for yourself how good the microphone is. In my opinion, it's not quite as good as the Quest 2. You can listen to my microphone while I talk about this. One of the issues I had with the Quest 2 was a lot of God rays and things like that, and I didn't experience it as much in games, but where I did experience it is here. In Netflix and Disney and actually watching stuff, and it was really annoying. And I've actually been watching Goosebumps here it's a new show on Disney Plus, and been watching it before bed, which is a good a bedtime show to watch. It gives you good night's sleep and nice sweet dreams. And yeah, highly recommend before bed. This is probably a good show to actually test the Quest 3 out on, because it doesn't have an OLED display. Because it's quite a dark show, and there's a lot of dark scenes, even right now really. I run the dimness generally in this room quite low, so it's just dark in general. In the display here, at least what I'm seeing, I don't know about what you're seeing, but in my display, as I'm seeing it here, obviously all the dark areas are a little washed out. Again, I don't really notice it too much in games unless it's a really dark game, like maybe Half-Life Alyx or something. But because it's not an OLED, it's an LCD, and yeah, some of the dark scenes are not 100%, but you kind of expect that for a display that's an LCD. Not only do the lenses have less God rays now, but the sweet spot in the middle of the lenses is much larger now as well. There's more in focus and a proper IPD adjustment wheel now, not the 3 steps it had before on the Quest 2, which I personally had a bit of an issue with. The 3 steps it had before would probably actually be acceptable now though, due to how large the sweet spot now is with these lenses. The resolution upgrade is a welcome upgrade, but the major difference I find with the Quest 3 visually is actually more so the lenses, I think, more than anything. The inbuilt speakers, when I was sim racing with a lot of previous headsets, I used to run external speakers all the time, but I found with the Quest 3 speakers, they sound more full than most built-in speakers. Most built-in speakers are quite tinny, and I didn't feel the need to add external speakers for the Quest 3. For the most part, I just used the factory inbuilt ones. As for the controllers, the Quest 3 controllers feel nearly identical in the hand to the Quest 2, but now without the need for those tracking rings. So it does make for a better experience, especially in games that require hand movements that are quite close together, like reloading. In terms of controller battery life, I find this to be better than the Quest 2. In fact, I haven't even gone through my first set of batteries yet. But in saying that, I have been using hand tracking as much as possible. As for pass-through, one of the major upgrades for the Quest 3 was the color pass-through and the depth sensor for better mixed reality experiences. And after using the pass-through on Quest 3, it's hard to go back to anything else. I did try go back to the Quest 2, and I was like, wow, have I gone back to 1960? It just felt so old in comparison. The slight problem with the Quest 3 pass-through, though, is the images can be slightly skewed at the edges, and in dark areas especially, you can see a little bit of video noise, which is quite common for cameras in general, really, but that's still a giant leap compared to anything else I've used, and has the added benefit of being able to see other electronic screens as well through the headset without actually taking off the headset. In bed, in low light playing, I found the Quest 3 to be one of the best inside-out tracking headsets for low light. One of the first nights I got it, I had all the lights turned off in the bedroom, except for one small bedroom light on the side of my bed. And I tried to watch things on Netflix before on the Quest 2 and similar scenarios, but I had a few issues where it kept thinking the bed was the floor, jump out of the movie, and I was watching, or the headset lost tracking due to low light. But with the Quest 3, I didn't have a single problem playing Little Cities, actually. I was in my bedroom playing Little Cities for 3 hours straight one night, which was a kind of accident. Maybe it was even over 3 hours, actually. I just kept building that city, man. And the only problem I had in low light was if you have hand tracking enabled, then you do start to lose some of the hand tracking. But if you're using the controllers, then you're all good. The controller tracking was quite fine for me. I haven't really had any issues with the controller tracking. As for like mixed reality, it's really hard. There's not a lot of mixed reality experiences out there right now, other than one that you kind of get with the Quest 3. But I think there'll be much more on the mixed reality front coming soon, so I can't really say too much on that. The headset hasn't been out for too long. There wasn't a lot of Quest 3 exclusives at this time when it comes to mixed reality, but maybe that's a video for the future. But PCVR, I see this question a lot. Is it worth it to upgrade to the Quest 3 if you're only using it for PCVR? And my answer to that is, in my opinion, yes. I did do a dedicated video on this for sim racing. Go watch that if you're interested. But honestly, I didn't expect the upgrade to PCVR that I ended up getting from Quest 2 to Quest 3. I was amazed at the difference. Maybe part of it is the much better lenses, but everything just looks so much better. Because the Quest headsets don't have a display port and a USB like most VR headsets, the data has to be compressed, sent through the cable to the headset, then decompressed, then it gets shown on the displays. The Quest 2, especially in fast-moving scenes, like all the walls in sim racing as you're flying by, and cars moving. It all looked a bit artifacty and fuzzy, but the Quest 3 is probably just as sharp as my HTC Cosmos Elite with my Gear VR lens mod. If not a little sharper due to the better resolution on the Quest 3. Obviously, you're going to get that slight bit of delay there when going and using a Quest headset because of the decompression and, well, the compression, then decompression and network in Airlink and Virtual Desktop as well, which I'll show you right now. So, for some reason, Airlink hasn't worked for me on the Quest 3, and I have seen other people having similar issues to me on Facebook groups and Reddit, etc. But previously I have found Virtual Desktop to be better anyway. But in my testing, I used a Eero 6 mesh system at home for my network, which is Wi-Fi 6, and this is the particular latency I got with that setup in this particular game. But looking at other people's videos, it seems to be similar to what I'm getting, and it can be game and network dependent, and your setting dependent as well. So if you've got your graphics settings really high, that's going to increase latency. And if your network's terrible, that's going to increase latency. But with my particular settings in this game and in the Eero 6 mesh network, this is about the latency I got. It seems to be, with the videos I've looked at online, it's around about 50 milliseconds or so on average, I would say, when using Virtual Desktop. Obviously, you'd probably like to get that as low as possible, and if you want to do that, I mean, you can always pull down your graphical settings and that'll make the latency lower. In terms of battery life, the one downgrade with the Quest 3, in my opinion, is it sucks battery. And it's harder to keep up with the power draw, even with a power bank plugged in. Depending on what you're doing and what settings you have enabled, like pass-through, 120 Hz, hand tracking, etc., battery life is going to vary. But what I can tell you is I got around about an hour and a half standalone with no power bank plugged in and no link cable connected. When playing PCVR with the original Oculus link cable plugged in, I got about 3.5 hours out of my USB-C Gen 2 port, but this can be dependent on your computer and what power it's actually able to output via your USB port. I have a 20 watt output power bank that I have plugged into it that is able to keep up with the battery draw when using it standalone, but it looks like you might not be able to buy that one anymore. But I have found a similar spec'd one, and I've linked that down below. Yeah, just as an example, that's probably about the power bank you need to keep up with the power draw on this thing. Most power banks won't be able to keep up with the power draw on this, because I've got many power banks. I've tried many power banks, and they all drain very quickly, and the battery will still die even if the power bank still has 50% battery or something. In terms of performance, I'm much happier now with the performance. The Quest 2 used to take so long even to start up. The Quest 3 is much faster to even start up now, and load games faster, and even VR chat is a totally different experience now. It's so much better than before. Before with the VR chat in the Quest 2, used to struggle loading into worlds, especially with a lot of people in them, and commonly freaked out and sometimes crashed. But so far, I haven't had a problem with the Quest 3, even in worlds with a lot of people. in conclusion, for those following the channel, I wasn't happy with the Quest 2 purchase. And to be honest, I didn't really get my money's worth out of it. It just sat there in the case more often than it probably should have. But with the Quest 3, I can tell you I'm 100% happy with my purchase. And I did make the purchase because initially I wasn't going to, because I didn't think there would be that much of an upgrade, especially for PCVR, which is previously, up until now, a lot of what I used it for. But as it turns out, PCVR has been quite a good jump. I'm now much more happier. We know all like Netflix and watching stuff even in bed. All the God rays and all that are gone, which was a big issue. The IBD adjustment, it's got proper IBD adjustment now, which is good. Pretty much most of my problems, all with the Quest 2, have now been resolved. And to be honest, nearly every day I've had it so far since its release, I've been using it. So I reckon I've probably used the Quest 3 more than I ever have in the years I've had the Quest 2. So yeah, I'm getting my monies out of the Quest 3 a lot more now. And I mean, I've had a lot of VR headsets over the years. I got into VR back in 2017. And look, I've had mixed reality headset, like the Windows mixed reality headsets, Rift S and HTCs and so on. And I can tell you, this is the best value for money VR headset I have bought so far. So anyway, thanks for watching this video, everybody. Hit that like button if you liked it. Subscribe for more videos, and I will see you in the next video.